May this message be for the highest good of all, including and especially for you, my brothers. The message that's coming through today is on us cultivating and holding our light, our vital life force energy, our primal nature, our desires, our creative energy. That this is a time in the world where us in our fullest glory, us in our potency and our power is so very important. What I noticed in my own journey in relationship to porn and the compulsive behaviors, the addictions that I had with porn, was that porn was the place that I dimmed my light. That when I got too full of my vital life force energy, when I got too full of my sexual energy, my creative energy, when I was too bright, that this would be the place where I would go shrink, where I would go get rid of the enormity, the intensity of who I actually am when I'm full of the light of the divine, when I'm full of myself. And I'm saying that in the most beneficial way, full of what I am here to be in the world. So most of us were trained to be good boys. Whether that was overt or not, we believed that it was not safe, not good, to be full, to be fully seen, to be fully expressed and fully ourselves. And so we made a habit out of giving to others to be seen as a good person, to be accepted, to be loved by what we could give or offer to other people, leaving us with an empty cup, leaving us to be half of or a quarter of who and what we really are. And so when it comes to this point in our timelines, in our paths, where the gifts are right there, but they don't have energy behind them to be moving them out. So we may be hidden in our practices, hidden in what we have curiosities and interests towards, quiet about the intuition and the spiritual gifts that we have. Because there's still that old program that says, I need to be better, or I need to give of myself so that I can be accepted. I need to be understood in order to be okay. And who and what you truly are, your soul's essence, who you are in human form, including your sexual desire, including your vital life force, including your flame, your brilliance, your extravagance. All of that must be embraced for the gifts to have some energy to channel through. If you do not have your oomph, your there's nothing, right? It's like a neutered being that may have these beautiful spiritual gifts from here to here, right? A lot of sensitivity in the heart, maybe some self-expression, but a lot of intuition, a lot of connection to source, and very little personal will, very little life force energy, very little foundation and connection to the earth, connection to the body. And so for you, porn may be this place that was safe, that was a place to hide, that was a place to dim your light, that when that energy got too much, okay, I'm going to channel it here. It's time for that channeling to be shifted. It's time for you to start practicing what does it feel like? And this does not mean don't have orgasms. This does not mean forego your sexual desires. It means embrace them and embody them and allow them to exist for long enough that you feel inspired, that you feel alive, that you may even feel a little dangerous. That was something that I used to write in my journal when I was processing my own sexual desires, who I am as a sexual being. There were multiple times where I wrote, it feels dangerous. My desires feel dangerous. And there were multiple layers to that, but the one that I see as the most relevant in this message is the danger of being full of myself. What that would mean to my relationships, what that would mean to my self-expression, that I would be even stranger than I was before, that I would be even more magnetic, which was even more scary. So, where can you channel this vital life force energy? How can you start to relate to sexual desire in a way that empowers you instead of depletes or drains you? How can you start to create a container where you're not giving yourself away? You're not putting the needs of others before your own because it was what you were trained into doing, but that you start to truly realize, not from the place of ego, but that I am God, source, the universe, expressing through this body, through this personality, through this name, through this mind, through this heart. And because of that, I need to honor this, the totality of who and what I am. So I'm putting my needs before others. Sounds strange, right? It sounded selfish to me because I was always my mother's. I was always my clients. I was always the possession of the people in my life. And none of them had asked for that. No one had asked for that. It was a belief and a pattern that I felt I didn't have autonomy, self-authority, the ability to say, my needs, taking care of me first, building this container that can hold the light, that has boundaries, that is not spilling all over the place, but actually can be a singular point of focus to share messages like this. It's necessary. It is essential to bring forward the gifts that you have to give. So this is somewhat about porn, and it's not to denigrate porn. For some people, I have talked with some people who it's their only outlet based on ability, location, um, the age, their well-being. It is their only outlet to touch into desire and connection with men. So porn is not always bad, but for many of us, it's become the channel that is not beneficial, not life-giving. It's life-depleting. So maybe it's time for you to start viewing your body as something to give pleasure to rather than extract pleasure from. With porn, we're often in a habitual pattern of trying to reach orgasm or being in an expanded state of turn on that has very little to do with our body and that has very little to do with giving ourselves more life force energy. So, self pleasure that is connected to God, that is connected to who we are beyond this body and personality, but self pleasure that includes who we are as spiritual beings. That's a prayer. That's an honoring of the divine, and it is something that empowers us and helps create this container of safety, joy, pleasure, self giving, so that you do have more energy. You do have a container, a boundary, an appreciation for your autonomy, so that from that place you can give without needing to get, that you're truly coming from a giving place. And from there, you are attuned, aligned with the divine. And everything that you need then comes to you because you're in that flow. But that cannot happen if we are disembodied. So this is your call to come back home to this body, to find your center again, to include your desire, your primal animal nature as something that is divine. So much love.